If someone walked up to you today and said, "Prove you're strong," what would you do? Would you flex your biceps, rattle off your achievements like a grocery list, post a photo of your bank account with motivational music in the background? Or would you just smile and keep walking? Because let me tell you something that most people won't say out loud. Real strength doesn't need a mic. It doesn't show off. It doesn't beg for attention. It moves silently, like a lion who knows it doesn't need to roar to be feared. And if you felt something when I said that, good. That means this video is for you. You ever notice how the loudest ones in the room are usually the most insecure? The ones always bragging, always flexing, always trying to prove something? Like they're fighting a war inside their own head and they're hoping applause will drown out the noise. We all know someone like that. Maybe you are that someone right now. And hey, no shame. Been there. Wore the t-shirt. Posted the thirst trap. Got the dopamine hit and the emptiness right after. It's a cycle. And it's exhausting. Let's get real for a second. You ever stayed up at night scrolling, comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel? Thinking, why does everyone else seem to be winning except me? Maybe you're grinding at your job. No one sees it. Showing up for people, no one claps. Fighting battles no one even knows you're in. And you're tempted to scream, "Hello! Can someone acknowledge me already?" But you don't. Because deep down, you know, the ones who are really doing it, the ones who are actually building something, they're too busy becoming to bother with broadcasting. You think Kobe had time to post every gym session? You think Maya Angelou needed to go live and talk about her trauma to prove she was wise? You think your grandma needed 1,000 likes to know she held the family together with duct tape and prayers? Strength isn't loud. It's not a TED Talk. It's not a six-pack. It's waking up when you're tired. It's choosing peace when you want revenge. It's walking away when your pride is screaming to stay. And most of all, it's not needing the world to clap for it. Chapter 2. Insecurity Wears Loud Clothes. You ever meet someone who's got a Bluetooth speaker for a personality? Always blasting their wins at full volume, like if they stop talking about themselves for 10 seconds, they might vanish into thin air? Yeah, that's not confidence. That's insecurity. Wearing designer shades and screaming for attention. Let's call it what it is. Most flexing is just fear in a fancy outfit. Fear of being invisible. Fear of not being enough. Fear that if people don't see you as winning, they'll forget you exist. So you overcompensate. You start treating life like a performance. You document everything. That gym selfie wasn't about fitness. It was about proving you're not lazy. That caption about grinding? Really just a cry for someone to say, "You're doing great." And don't get me wrong, we've all done it. I once posted a photo of my lunch with a quote from Einstein underneath it. Why? Because I wanted people to think I was smart and eating kale. I was neither. But here's the problem. When your self-worth is tied to people watching, your peace is tied to their applause. And applause fades fast. You might get 100 likes, maybe 1,000, maybe a viral moment if the algorithm's in a good mood. But what happens after that? You need more. You start chasing validation like a hamster on a wheel, running, spinning, performing, burning out. And it's not just online. Some people flex in real life too. You know the type. Can't have a normal conversation without name dropping. Turn every story into a competition. Buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't even like. That's not strength. That's a costume. And it's heavy. You can see it in their eyes. The constant pressure to keep up, to be on, to never let the mask slip. But you know what's wild? The truly confident people, the ones who actually have it, whatever it is, they're usually the quietest in the room. Not because they're shy, but because they're secure. They don't need to sell you a story. Their life is the proof. You ask them what they do, and they shrug and say, a little of this, a little of that. When in reality, they're probably funding 3 nonprofits and quietly mentoring half the city. See, when you're rooted, you don't need noise. You don't need to convince people of your value. You just are. And that freaks people out because they're used to others begging for attention. So, When someone walks in calm, still, unbothered, people don't know what to do with that. They feel it. It's magnetic. That's real power. So ask yourself, am I posting this because I want to share or because I need to be seen? Am I talking because I have something to say or because I'm scared of silence? Am I performing or just being? Because insecurity dresses loud. It needs spotlights, it needs mirrors. Confidence? It shows up in sweats and still steals the room. Chapter 3. The Invisible Hustle. You know what's brutal? Doing everything right and still feeling invisible. You show up every day. You're working, grinding, sacrificing. You put in effort no one sees. You're the first one up, last one out, carrying weight people don't even know you're holding. And the world? Silent. No applause, no gold stars, just more to carry, more to push through, and it messes with your head, doesn't it? You start wondering if any of it matters. Like, why am I doing all this if no one notices? Why am I breaking my back just to get passed over for the louder guy, the flashier girl, the ones who are all smoke and selfies? It's enough to make you want to scream or quit, or maybe even join the circus and start flexing too. Hey, look at me. I'm doing life. Someone validate me. But you don't. Because deep down, you know your work isn't a performance. It's a promise you made to yourself to be more, to do better, to build something real, even if no one claps for it. Let me tell you something. The strongest people I've ever met were invisible to most of the world. I knew a woman who worked 3 jobs while raising her siblings after her parents disappeared. Never complained, never posted. Just did what needed to be done. I knew a guy who stayed sober for 10 years straight in a world that constantly tried to drag him back down. No chip on his shoulder, just quietly clean. And the wildest part? Most people around them had no idea how strong they were. Because real strength doesn't introduce itself. It just shows up. And that's the invisible hustle. The behind-the-scenes grind. The late nights. The early mornings. The work no one praises. The sacrifices no one sees. The tears you wipe away in private. That's the stuff that builds unshakable people. That's the stuff that builds you. But it's also lonely. Let's be honest. There's something soul-numbing about putting your heart into something and hearing nothing back. No recognition, no gratitude, just echo. And the worst part? You start to think maybe you're crazy, like maybe you're just a fool for caring so much, for trying so hard, for being that person who gives a damn in a world that rewards shortcuts. But listen to me. You're not a fool. You are rare. Most people quit when the claps don't come. Most people fold when they're not seen. But you keep going. Not because it's easy, but because you know you're building something that will outlive the silence. You know the applause comes after the masterpiece, and sometimes not at all. And that's okay, because you didn't do it for the noise. You did it because it was right. You did it because it was yours. The invisible hustle is the realest grind there is. It's what separates the legends from the posers, the solid from the shiny. And one day, the people who overlooked you will ask how you did it. And you'll just smile. Because they never saw the mountain you carried. Chapter 4. The Marcus Parable. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus wasn't flashy. He didn't talk much. You'd pass him on the street and never guess what he was carrying. 2 jobs, one paid the rent, the other paid for his mom's cancer treatment. No shortcuts, no GoFundMe, no pity posts. Just early mornings, late nights, and a quiet kind of grit that didn't ask for applause. I met Marcus at a gas station of all places. We were both getting coffee. He looked tired, not tired like someone who partied all night. Tired like someone who's been holding up the sky. We started talking. He cracked a joke about how the coffee tasted like regret, and boom, we were instant friends. Now here's the thing. I knew Marcus for 2 years, before I found out what he was really doing. For 2 whole years, he never once mentioned his mom's illness, never talked about the double shifts, never once played the victim. Meanwhile, I was over here complaining about slow Wi-Fi and pretending my schedule was packed, when really I just didn't want to fold laundry. You know what he did talk about? Books, basketball, random facts about squirrels. He smiled a lot. The dude was funny, chill, seemed at peace. Then one day I saw him walking in the rain, soaked, no umbrella, still smiling. I offered him a ride, and that's when I saw it. Tired eyes, the kind that have seen too much. That's when he told me everything. Not in a feel sorry for me way, just casually. Like he wasn't even aware how heavy it all was. Just part of life. I asked him, "Why didn't you ever say anything?" He shrugged and said, "Because I didn't do it to be seen. I did it because it mattered." That line hit me like a freight train. I didn't do it to be seen. I did it because it mattered. Man, read that again. That's not just strength. That's sacred. That's the kind of mentality that builds empires, saves lives, holds families together. And the craziest part? No one clapped for him. No one reposted him. No one gave him a standing ovation. But you better believe when I looked at Marcus, I didn't just see a man, I saw a mountain. A year later, his mom went into remission. He opened his own small business, quietly, of course. Still humble, still steady. No champagne, no Instagram live. Just a little post that said, "We're open if you ever need a haircut and a decent conversation. That's it. That's all." And in a world that rewards performance and filters, Marcus reminded me what real greatness looks like. Not loud, not needy, just there. Showing up, holding it down, rising without noise. So the next time you feel tempted to prove something, pause. Ask yourself, what would Marcus do? He wouldn't flex. He'd keep walking. He'd keep working. And he'd do it because it matters. Chapter 5. Strength doesn't shout. Let's break something wide open right now. Strength is not a volume level. It's not how loud you talk, how hard you flex, or how many followers scream your name. Strength, real strength, is quiet. It's calm. It's unshakable. Not because it doesn't feel things, but because it's mastered the art of not reacting to every little thing that pokes it. You ever seen a storm roll in? The sky doesn't yell, it darkens, the wind doesn't brag, it moves. And before you even realize what's happening, boom, it changes everything. That's what real strength is like. It doesn't announce itself, it doesn't need a drum roll, it is. You think your grandma needed a YouTube channel to prove she held down 3 generations with nothing but prayer, cast iron, and side-eye? She was strength in a bathrobe. She was backbone in slippers. She didn't go viral. She went through life like a tank with a grocery list. No flex, all force. Or how about the teacher who changed your life and never even knew it? They stayed late, gave you a chance when no one else did, believed in you when you didn't even believe in yourself. You think they did it for applause? Nah, they did it because they cared. Because they knew impact isn't always loud, it's lasting. Meanwhile, the world we live in is yelling 24/7. Everyone trying to outvoice each other. Look at me, validate me, like share, repost, subscribe. And hey, some of that's fun. We're human. We like attention. But if your identity is built on volume, the moment the crowd goes silent, you crumble. Because shouting is easy. Whispers require truth. And here's the wild part. When you stop shouting, people start listening. When you stop flexing, they start watching. When you stop trying to be powerful and just are, people feel it. Not because you're trying to be impressive, but because you're anchored, solid, still. Ever met someone who walks into a room and doesn't say much, but everyone notices anyway? That's presence. That's earned energy. That's years of doing the hard work when no one clapped, staying grounded when others spiraled, taking the high road when the low road was paved with ego. And let's be real, it takes guts to be quiet in a loud world. It takes discipline to stay focused while everyone's performing. It takes character to not explain yourself every 5 minutes just to be understood. But that's what makes strength rare. It doesn't explain, it doesn't perform, it moves. And when it moves, everything around it shifts. So if you're not the loudest in the room, good. If you're not the one constantly broadcasting your grind, good. If you feel unseen but you're building anyway, good. You're doing it right because strength doesn't shout. It just shows up and stays. Chapter 6. The real flex. Let me give it to you straight. The real flex isn't the watch, the car, the followers, or the six-figure screenshot with motivational music slapped on top. The real flex is peace. Let that marinate for a second. Peace in your mind, peace in your chest, peace when you're walking into a room and don't care who's impressed. Peace when you're not checking your phone every 5 minutes, hoping someone finally noticed your effort. Peace when you don't need the spotlight because you already know who you are in the dark. That's power most people will never touch. You know why? Because most people are still trying to win a race that doesn't exist. They're sprinting towards some invisible finish line labeled, "I made it." And when they get close, the line moves again and again and again. Because when you're chasing validation, you're not running towards something. You're running from yourself. The real ones stopped running a long time ago. They slowed down, got still, looked inward, and realized, oh snap, I already have what I was trying to prove. Confidence, integrity, resilience, self-respect. That's the real flex. Walking away from an argument you could win. Because peace matters more than being right. Saying no when it would have been easier to people please. Turning down shortcuts. Owning your mistakes. Admitting when you're still learning. Not needing to be the loudest voice. Because you're already the clearest. You ever see someone get clowned online and just not respond? That's a flex. You ever meet someone who doesn't need to talk about their money because they've already invested in things no one can take? Like character and legacy? That's a flex. You ever talk to someone who listens more than they speak, and when they do speak, it cuts straight through the noise? Major flex. See, here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most people perform because they don't believe they're enough without the performance. But the real ones? They perform regardless of who's watching. And that makes them dangerous in the best way possible. Because they can't be manipulated with attention. They can't be baited by clout. And they can't be broken by silence. So what's the real flex? Building something that doesn't need a spotlight. Living in a way that doesn't need defending. Walking through storms and not needing to post the rain. Healing in private. Winning in silence. Smiling without a reason. That's grown man strength. That's grown woman energy. And when you start carrying that, the game changes. Not just for you, but for everyone watching, even if they don't say it out loud. Because deep down, people know what's real. They may not double tap it, but they feel it. They respect it. And that's a flex no algorithm can measure. If you've made it this far, then hear this loud and clear. You don't need the applause. You don't need the likes. You don't need the followers, the fire emojis, the "you got this" comments from people who wouldn't show up if everything fell apart. You need you, that quiet version of you, the one who shows up when no one else does, the one who gets back up again and again without a camera watching, the one who doesn't perform, doesn't chase, doesn't beg. You've been enough this whole time. You just forgot. Because this world, it sells noise. It rewards surface. It tells you to hustle for validation, to build a highlight reel, to be louder, flashier, shinier. But real ones? The real ones live behind the scenes. They rise in silence. They grow in dark seasons. They win quietly. And maybe that's you. Maybe you've been the backbone, the rock, the one who keeps going when it hurts, the one who gives without asking for anything back, the one who holds others together while holding your pain in your own chest. And no one sees it. No one claps. No one reposts your resilience. But I will, right here, right now. I see you. And I want you to know this. You don't need to flex to be strong. You don't need to shout to be powerful. You don't need to explain yourself to be valid. Your actions are already speaking. They've been speaking. Every time you didn't give up. Every time you took the high road. Every time you chose character over clout. Every time you said no to what was easy and yes to what was right. Even when it cost you. You think no one noticed? Let me tell you a secret. They did. Maybe not with likes. Maybe not with standing ovations. But with quiet respect. With unspoken admiration. With that shift in energy when you walk into a room and people just know. Because strong people don't need to announce themselves. Their presence does the talking. Their consistency is the proof. Their peace is the power. So, if you're still out there moving quietly, building in silence, growing in the shadows, keep going. Let the loud ones chase claps. Let the flexors wear themselves out. You, keep building. Keep healing. Keep showing up. Not because they're watching, but because you are. Because when all the noise fades, and it will, the only thing left standing will be what you built in the quiet. And that's louder than any applause. That's strength, unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable. No flex needed, just actions that speak. And they're speaking loud, my friend. So keep walking. You're already being heard.